with the channel again after like I don't know a couple of months. It's been a couple of months since I've done anything seriously. And I decided I'd go back to work on the resources and actually start doing something more productive than fucking around with an early start. So here's what I'm going to do. Recently, and by recently I mean like it's been sometime last year. There's been a challenge issue by a YouTuber called People Show. It involves building something on a island. That's what it is. It's an island challenge. And I've been slacking on it, thinking, should I not? Well, here we go. About a year later, I'm like, well, might as well do something. And so here's the difficulty settings that I'll be starting with. So let's go through them. Overall difficulty. I'll start with realistic and see what I need to change. Money, hard, okay, realistic mode, enable. I usually play on reasonable citizen difficulty, so this will be interesting. I might change it later. We'll see how it goes. Buildings, vehicles, yes. Waste, demolition, maintenance enable, seasons, yes. Building crimes frequent, global and serious. Yeah, we will have earthquakes. I've dealt with them before. They can be devastating. Let's put it that way. Pollution enable, education complex, blah blah blah. Moving sun. What's this? I don't know what the difference between these two is. Always day static sun. I guess it involves shadows and stuff. Okay. Vehicle availability. Lock according to year. Year of start 1960. Now, I was planning to make this an early start. But then I found out that the reason why I was not having any achievements is because what you essentially use to set a starting date before 1960 is essentially a little bit of a cheat. And it disables achievements. So I'll be doing 1960 and I'll see if I can actually get any achievements, because I usually end up doing like things or like fulfilling conditions for some of the actually kind of rare achievements. So we'll see how this goes, and I'll start the game, and I'll see you once it's loaded. Now, the question arises, should I get a webcam? The second question arises, which side do we start on? Usually, and it's so nice that it's actually raining, holy shit. Usually people start on this side with this custom source and progress like through here basically. I think I'm going to start the other way around. I like being different and difficult, but mainly different. And I'll start from here. What's this called? Sargrad. Yes. The reason why is kind of simple. Because I already know that there is a place right around here that has oil. And oil, you don't have it anywhere else, really. And oil is kind of important because we don't have a lot of money. And one, oil is really good for exports. two, oil is really good for reducing the amount of things that you import. Because what you can do with oil is one, you can produce fuel, you can produce bitumen for your or bitumen for your construction, and also chemicals. And chemicals are expensive, and you need them to treat your water. So as I'm looking at it, let me turn on the lines. I'm looking for what would be a good flat piece of ground to start on. Probably here-ish. I was expecting there to be a little bit more space. But that is fine. Can... This is a nice flat piece of ground for some early factories. Planning. Let me see. I really dislike the fact that it's raining. Okay, let's start placing down some roads. And there we can have our first village here, I guess. Or on top. Maybe on top will be a little bit. See, this is the most difficult part. Deciding how you start. I guess I can put a... And if I'm going to be using a ton of mods, well, we'll get to them. Guess I can start with a bus stop here. Connect the road. Thinking. But I'm also going to have a lot of his fields because I would like to have my own agriculture on this well, okay, I'm used to calling it peninsula because of Bibojo, but let me see. Oh, that's a nice little church. Kind of sunk into the ground. there no way to... Okay, I guess. It's going to be just a landmark. I do have mods where I can build my own though, and I'm not doing that because it just makes things more difficult, and I like things being more difficult, but we'll see about that. Um, Let me see. For starters, what do I need? I need a shop. That's going to be the core of this grocery store. Or just a shopping center, an actual small store. Uh, because this first village will need to have everything. And these are just way too big. 10 tons of food. I also have a ton of mods that I'm never going to use for one reason or another. I like this Powex store. It's good for like rural development, but I don't think we can rely on it. I guess this is going to be our bet. The obvious disadvantage with this one is it has no actual factory connections. So if I put it here, this will work. And then I'm just going to start stacking residential buildings, but yeah, I wish it would just hide the buildings that you cannot use. Forestry. I'm going to be using these. These are good for like if you need to house a lot of workers in a city because they line up nicely. Let's see. Good. Neat, flat terrain. It's not a problem. So how many people did we say? 90? 180. Yeah. And I need to be flipping these because they're not perfectly symmetrical. Not always. And yep. And I guess I can have a school up there. This is a very exciting gameplay, just placing on buildings. I understand that. But hey, you only get to start once. Might as well make it look neat. I'm thinking, do I need to put anything in here? Pen station? No, that can be behind the town. Oh, I know what needs to be in the middle. A polyclinic. I could use even the small one. It doesn't fit here. So I guess I can put it here. Okay, so how many is that? 90 times 8 is 72. 720. I don't know how much I need. So I'm probably just going to go with a gut feeling. But this also involves a lot of thinking. And a lot of thinking means a lot of time is being wasted on, well, thinking. And I now realize I could do it slightly different. I could have a perpendicular road going up and down, and then have these two be attached to it. Which could work. But nah. We can live with that. The main purpose of this is going to be workers for construction. And maybe some initial food. Which food can be on top of that? Or maybe next to the school. because essentially, um, a lot of these industries do not cause that much pollution, and like you will eventually learn that pollution is not that scary, not in the game at least. Pollution is very scary IRL, but not in the game. Unless you put like a coal power plant right next to a place where you want people to actually live. Could also put a small airfield. That would be. Oh, that would be fun. Oh, that would be so much. Okay, okay. Change of plans. I might put an airfield here and the food factory next to it, and then use that to transport food to the island eventually. Thinking. But that's so far away that that's not even worth thinking about. So now we have 720 people. Uh, I am going to put down some more. And we might expand here a bit later. And yeah, we might. Put one in here. Just to kind of close it off. Yep. Let's remove this one. Line it up. It's good enough. Yes. And that's just going to be a footpath going through here. And now we need a kindergarten or something that's going to be in here. We could put like a... Nah, not a pub. If anything, it would be like one of these smaller cultural buildings. House of Culture, maybe. Unless we put it up here. With a granular view. Oh yes. It's actually nice. And then that means that we'll have a kindergarten down here. 120 kids. What is this one? 100 kids. Again, it's a mod by Robs. You can find it on the workshop. And it's a really useful one. And it's going to be right next to the polyclinic. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Slowly shaping up. Yeah, that's exactly what I need. This is slightly disappointing. We can go uphill. eventually connect there. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I will start making these buildings from the middle out. But what I do need is some a heating plant. I really like to use this one. Yeah, it needs to be roughly here, which is unfortunate. Also, put it on the other side. Yeah, let's just put it here. And then that also means that eventually, what is my aggregate storages? Eventually, we can just put an aggregate storage behind it, like this, if we ever need to. Also, one important thing I forgot to check is stations for vehicle loading, unloading, 2. And we will have the actual vehicle that we need for this, which is, and thanks for having mods. Ooh, where is it? Dumpers. For early starts, look up the Tatra 111 mod. Again, these are real vehicles, so I don't have a problem with these. and they're not cheating. The big thing is, these come with a trailer and they can transport 18 tons of coal at once. That's super useful. You can't imagine how, like, I'm surprised they don't come as part of the base game in some form, but I mean, kind of makes sense because you could only have them to 1962. That's like 2 years after the game starts. Hopefully, because there's going to be an early start DLC. I hope it comes as part of that. That would be nice. And you know what? There might be rail going through here if I feel like it. And if I ever need it for something. But now we have heat. We'll need power. We'll need water. Water shouldn't be too difficult. What else? A school. And a place to do sport. So we'll do my favorite thing to do, which is placing a football field in front of a school. And I'll be using these 50 schools. They feel nice. Yeah, and I really like this one. And I might even switch this around. What's the other one? This one, 240 students, 180 students. Yep. I'll put down school. And behind that, we will have a football field. It's very appropriate. Mm-hmm. And actually, we might not even need these two. Yes. Now I could have put fences around it. But that feels like not such a good idea at this point. I like fences, but not quite yet. Okay. What do we need next? We need water. And a way to dispose of wastewater. So I'll start with that. Huh? Almost. Mm. Perfect. And we will need. Oh my god! I just realized we do not have a police station. Please, please, please. Don't even need to build it in the start. Just need to know where it's going to be. Which means probably here. That feels oddly okay. We're also going to need a university, a fire station. Holy shit! Fire, 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 fire station. Uh, yes. We could put a prison in here. Doesn't feel awful. If only the prisoners could actually walk to work. But yeah, could put it there. That is too much terraforming. That's too. Yeah. This is actually a good spot for it. So we can have a prison. If I never need a small courthouse, can literally put it here. And some kind of a smaller university. 75 students, 60 students. Orphanage is something that we might put down at some point. But I'm thinking. I'll probably go with this one, a technical university. A small technical university, even. Now that I have this planned out, I don't. Okay, what did I forget? I forgot. Water, of course. Okay. So water treatment plant needs road access and needs to be somewhere close to where people live. So water. I'll get the smallest one. 0.0. I would honestly like it to have everything point the other way around. So how about I angle it like this? Is that going to be ugly? Nah, this is going to work. And I will use my favorite water tower. This big round one, which honestly feels a bit like an overkill. So I'll use this one again. This one isn't by Robs, but I think it's not at least. I like it. That's why I'm going to use it. And I'll need a water pump. Biggest pipe there is. And I'll need a water well. Honestly, that feels fine. Yeah. Let me see. Does it need? Doesn't need that much. Okay. Now, in theory, because of the height difference, this shouldn't need a pump. But I have been wrong before. And so I will use this small water pump. At least make sure it's kind of aligned. Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now we have water. Just need to distribute it, which... all we need is a substation. And it's actually going to cover everything. Just see how well it's aligned. And honestly, depending on how ugly it is. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. That's totally fine. Okay. Switch. Where do I put you? Here, I guess. Where was I? Water. Switch. There. No. The medium one. Let's put it right here. And that's about it. That's the general layout. Then I'll end the episode here. And in the next one, I will deal with power is left. Yeah, power, garbage stands, and actually building this shit. Yep. So, see you in the next one.